Good morning, everyone. In this educational video, we will guide you through the inclusion of this Inda model composition with a groove, called Perfetto. This will give us the opportunity to illustrate the main features of the new 3D Inda configurator. After becoming familiar with the configurator, it allows the generation of a detailed quote like this one in just a few minutes. The quote is completed with drawings and technical diagrams of the countertops, dimensions of the layouts in plan and elevation, and soon also with wall connection diagrams. A rendering function is now available that allows for a realistic visualization of the composition to enhance the effectiveness of the final client presentation. To access all the features of the configurator, you need a client code, password, and username provided by Inda. For room design, refer to the dedicated video. Now we will use a simple wall. To start, let's click on Inda. In this screen, collections are inserted. In the future, this screen will be updated with new collections. In this tutorial, we will insert a composition with furniture from the Perfetto series. Let's click on Modular Systems and select Perfetto. Compare the header variables screen. This screen is used to indicate to the configurator, besides the model, the type of composition, the finishes of the structure, of the front panels, and in general all the configuration choices based on the selected model. When entering the header variables, proceed from top to bottom. Let's start by indicating the type of composition by clicking on the Inda symbol. Depending on the type of composition we choose, cabinets with countertop or integrated sinks, different options will appear. Let's start by inserting a unit with an integrated sink. Since we have chosen a unit with an integrated sink, a variant of the type of basin appears at the bottom of the screen. Now click on the second option, the finish of the fronts. We have chosen to include a composition of the Perfetto model, and we will be offered all the materials we can use for the fronts of this collection. In our example, we choose to use the fronts in decorative melamine. All available decorative melamines for the selected model will appear. At the top right of the screen, there are two small buttons. The first on the left displays the materials this way. The right button allows you to view a list that we can scroll through vertically. This gives a complete view of the code and description of the available materials. After choosing the front panel, we can choose the structure. Here we proceed with selecting the material for the structure, just as we did for the front panels. The fourth variant to include is the handle finish. In the case of Perfetto, the color of the profile should be indicated. We can keep the default color, which is black. In this case, no choice is necessary. If we click on the handle profile icon, alternative finishes will be suggested. In our example, we choose the profile in matte white. The final choice of header variables concerns the type of sink to include for our setup with an integrated sink. We have chosen the integrated sink in the header, so all models of tops and consoles of this type will appear. We can scroll in the window on the left and click on the one we want to use in our project. To scroll through the various versions, I can use the mouse wheel. We choose Tiziano White. On the side, the three versions for this top model with an integrated basin will appear. For easier reading of the descriptions, we recommend this type of view. Here we see the basin that is 50 centimeters wide, for the depth 40 centimeters, and the two basins that are 48 and 58 centimeters for the depths of 50 and 54 centimeters. We chose Tiziano Bianco. Another choice appears. The finish of the top, Tiziano Bianco, is available in either matte or glossy version. If we accept the proposed version, the matte one, we can confirm this choice. Otherwise, we can choose the glossy white version. We have finished entering the header variables. All the furniture we will now insert into the configurator will follow these specifications. To access the configurator, we just need to click on the button at the bottom right. We now have access to the configurator. For a detailed description of the configurator's functions, please refer to the dedicated video lessons. Let's proceed with inserting the furniture with a sample layout. At the top center of the screen, the button for selecting the 3D or 2D view appears. We select the top-down view in 2D. We click on the pencil icon at the top to open the catalog and choose the items to add. The screen displaying the items that can be added based on the chosen model and the header variants we have selected opens. The choice tree can be expanded or collapsed. The right arrow indicates that the selection can be expanded, and the down arrow that the section can be compressed. Let's now see how the expansion and collapsing of the choice tree works. The section of mirrors will appear open, so we recommend closing it to be able to view the furniture. The bases are grouped by depth. If we open the section of bases with a depth of 50, the selection of side vanity bases and other bases with this depth will open. We have selected the depth 50. Now let's open the decision tree for sink bases. All the sink bases in various designs will appear. Bases with one drawer, 24 centimeters tall, 32 and so on. In our example, we will install a wash basin unit with a single drawer that is 32 centimeters tall. In the window on the right, the different available widths for wash basin bases appear for the selected height and depth. If we position the mouse over each item without clicking, a complete description of the item with the code appears in the language set by the user. Now let's choose the 90 wide base. The configurator automatically places the first inserted element on the left edge of the wall. Let's right-click on the furniture and, while holding the button, drag it to the desired position. In addition to dragging, there is another way to move an item. By clicking on the item we want to move and pressing the space bar, this window appears. It works with the Cartesian coordinate system, where the letter X indicates the width position, Y the height, and Z the depth. If we enter the value 1000 in the X box, the piece of furniture will be placed exactly 1 meter from the left edge of the wall. The measurement entered is understood as from the edge of the wall to the bottom left corner of the furniture. The position of 3 indicates the distance of the right edge of the furniture from the right corner of the wall. We have placed the wash basin base in the desired position. The insertion of items can be done in 2D mode or in 3D mode. Let's try switching to 3D mode. By right-clicking and holding, I can change the display and use the scroll wheel to zoom in on details. At this point in the entry process, it is already possible to view the price of the items that I have just entered. This feature can be useful for quickly seeing the price of an item, as an alternative to using the paper price list. Or we can, as in our case, decide to proceed with entering a complete composition. We now place a side base to the right of the sink base. The configurator automatically extended the top for the side base, updating the price, measurements, and item code. While the recalculation of the top measurements is automatic, in the case of Perfetto furniture you need to proceed to the closing of the composition of the adjacent bases. Only in this way, in fact, it is possible to calculate the length of the groove. As we can see, the two pieces of furniture are placed next to each other, each with its own groove. This operation is not necessary for models with a handle. The recalculation function should be executed when we want to confirm that the base composition is complete, as in our case, and that the profile of the groove can be joined. These are the buttons to click on the upper part of the configurator. After this operation, the furniture is joined and the composition is complete. Now, we insert a wall cabinet 80 cm high and 40 cm wide with a right door. The wall cabinet has been placed to the right of the setup. If I want, I can move it above the side base. To do this, I can use the space bar, or I can use 2D dragging, as seen before. Let's now insert a mirror using the item search tree. The mirror has not been mounted on the wall as we would have liked. It needs to be placed above the sink. This allows us to illustrate a third way, in addition to the two previously seen, to move an object within the configurator to position it where required. Let's start from here. First, we need to select the object we want to move, in our case the mirror. To activate the function for selecting a specific item already entered on the configurator screen, we use the first top button on the right bar. Once this function is activated, I can select any of the objects on the screen. We select the mirror by clicking on it. By clicking on an object, dots appear around the object, and at the bottom left corner, 3 arrows appear, one horizontal, one vertical, and one for depth. By placing the mouse over one of the arrows and clicking on it, the color of the arrow turns red. If you hold down the mouse button, you can drag the object in the desired direction. Now let's see how to move it and how to place the mirror first on the wall and then above the sink. The same result can naturally be achieved by selecting the object and, after pressing the spacebar, entering the position relative to the wall. We have finished the composition. Now we want to save the project. To save, click on this symbol at the top right. In the top left corner, there is now a number. This is a unique quote number that will allow us to open this project later or communicate it to Inda customer service. For example, to get a check and order confirmation. Clicking on Offer in the left bar, the list of items appears. Here you can modify the prices that will be included in the estimate and add possible discounts, promotions or additional transport and labor costs. To generate the estimate in PDF format to view, save and possibly print, press this button on the left. Enter the project reference, any notes, and click the Generate Offer button. The quote obtained can only be viewed or saved in PDF format for printing, or eventually sent via email. For the rendering function, which will be explained in detail in a dedicated video, once the order is saved, click on this button at the bottom left. This concludes this educational overview that has shown the main features of the Inda configurator. It is a constantly evolving tool that will be updated with new features and new models. We are preparing other short videos dedicated to specific program features or to articles that have specific configuration requirements. Thank you for your attention, and we invite you to contact your sales representative for any further information. Thank you and good work from Inda.